Today is Monday, September 19th, and we certainly like to welcome all of you here today. We'd like to start tonight's City Council meeting by just identifying those council members who are here tonight. A roll call vote, please.
Councilors Aguilar. Here. Anderson.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Entman. Erpenbach.
Here.
Jameson.
Here.
Karski.
Here.
Rolfing.
We do have 6 city council members here tonight. We can conduct the city's business. I'd like to thank you all for being here. We would like to start tonight's meeting with an invocation. Tonight we have Pastor Eric McCandless of the Empire Baptist Temple. For those of you who are not familiar with the Empire Baptist Temple, it's located right on West 12th on Hawthorne here in town. After Pastor Eric is done with the invocation, if you'd remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, we'd certainly appreciate it. Pastor Eric.
Thank you. Let's pray. Our Father, this evening we certainly are grateful for having the privilege of having elected officials to congregate together and give their time to discuss business. Sometimes it's popular, sometimes it's not, but it needs to be done, it needs to be looked at. Lord, I pray that you'd give them wisdom tonight. Some of the details may be simple, but they may have complex ramifications, and they need your wisdom. So I pray that you'd give them wisdom. And Lord, thank you for giving us a city that is obviously one of the greatest cities in this nation, and it's not that by accident, it's by the great leadership that you have given us. So Lord, thank you for all that. I pray that we would honor it, do our best to uphold those same qualities for years to come. We ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Move on with tonight's meeting with the consent agenda. Council, any changes to the consent agenda or any motions?
Move approval, Erpenbach.
Second Anderson.
Councilor Erpenbach's made a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda, seconded by Councilor Anderson, Jr. If no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Thank you, Council. Now moving on to tonight's regular agenda. Are any changes to tonight's regular agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I'd move approval, Erpenbach.
Second Aguilar.
Has been a motion to approve tonight's regular agenda by Councilor Erpenbach, seconded by Councilor Aguilar. Thank you very much. Any motions to amend or any changes?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
I would
Councilor
make a motion
Erpenbach.
to amend the main motion to amend the regular agenda. We'll be deferring items 18, 25, 26, 28, and 29 to the City Council meeting of October 3rd for a variety of reasons, actually.
Second Aguilar.
There has been a motion by Councilmember Erpenbach to defer items 18, 25, 26, 28, and 29 to the City Council meeting of October 3rd. That was seconded by Councilor Aguilar. Any discussion on that, Council? Very good. A roll call vote, please.
Councilors Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Aguilar. Yes. Anderson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Any further changes? Very good. With that in mind, now we'll vote on the amended motion. Any further discussion? Very good. A roll call vote, please.
Councilors Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Aguilar. Yes. Anderson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
That has also passed 6-0. Thank you. We'd like to welcome you here to tonight's City Council meeting. We're very, very pleased with the crowd here tonight. Thank you again for making your time available. This is your City Council. We also provide an opportunity for you to address the women and men of the Council. If any of you would like to do that, please come forward. We'd ask you just to do 2 things. State your name, please, as well as if you could leave your comments to 5 minutes or less, the Council would appreciate that. Welcome.
Hello, my name is June Staggers. I have come before this council to speak to the City Council men and council women about your former Chief of Staff, Deborah Owen. I believe the city has made a terrible mistake by letting Deborah Owen go. Deborah has an elegance and self-confidence about her that is very admirable. She has the intelligence, grace, and integrity that this community is proud of. You will not be able to find a better city clerk and chief of staff than Deborah Owen. She loves Sioux Falls, its citizenry, and city council. She was impartial in her duties with the knowledge of the charter that is important for the city council and mayor to understand, especially in the separation of the duties of the administration and city council. Deborah Owen is a good civil servant of the people. She has served the city and the city council well, and I only hope that Deborah Owen will again serve the people of Sioux Falls. Lord knows we need good people with a good heart, impartial and intelligent, to serve this city. A Deborah Owen who, to many, was a victim of petty politics. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak to the council? Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Those were kind words. I am Representative Manny Steele, District 12, and a citizen of Sioux Falls.
Thank you.
Have a couple of topics. I will hold it to 5 minutes. My topics are not really kind. They're direct. As you may know, I don't mince words. But I'll try to stay to my script because I have a tendency to wander off like a politician does, I guess. A number of citizens have contacted me about the drag show. Some are mildly irritated, and some are outright flat angry. Why would we have a gay, lesbian, cross-dressing show promoted by our city government on public property, partially supported by our tax dollars? This is totally against our basic Judeo-Christian family values that have been in place for over 200 years and that the majority of our citizens believe in. This is an offense to the majority of the citizens who are family-oriented and a deterrent to our city's growth and a blight on our community. Who makes these decisions? Is it Larry Toll? As I understand it, Larry Toll asked them to come. Doesn't he have a board to report to? If he doesn't, I think he should have. Would we want a program in our pavilion put on by the Ku Klux Klan? I think not. How about an adult entertainment put on by Annabelle's or Olivia's? I think not. I would like to see some type of a criteria of what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Our family values are what holds this community together, and I believe this type of programming flies in the face of our citizens. My second topic, naturally, Deb Owen. Very displeased with that. Some of these are my questions and concerns, and some of these from other Sioux Falls citizens. How this transpired appears to be totally inappropriate. A clerk reports to the city council, not the mayor. The vote was 5-3. It's a split vote. If something was grievous to warrant a firing, why wouldn't the vote be unanimous? I have lots of questions. What was the meeting about on Monday? Why was the mayor at the meeting on Wednesday? It should have only been the council. Why not the mayor? Are not the mayor's office and the city council, are they not separate entities in our city government? Is the mayor now going to be involved in hiring and firing personnel? Don't we have a human resources department to handle this? Why were the police there? Why did they kick everybody out? Lots of questions. A side note, Mayor, we've had people in our city government, who are scared of being fired. Is this any way to run a government? If there are incompetent people, fire them, so be it. But Deb Owen is not. Why was the chief election officer fired within 2 months before a major city election? I have to wonder. The way this happened in my mind promotes a question. Is some on the board like puppets, and when the mayor pulls the strings, they dance? I don't know. I've got questions. What about open government and transparency? We've heard so much about this. The Argus has been fighting this for how many years? With the way this was handled, I have to wonder about the integrity and the trustworthiness of this council as a whole and our mayor. The citizens of Sioux Falls and I deserve more answers. Thank you.
Ms. Jill, thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the city? Is there anyone else who'd like to address the city council?
Anyone else who would like to address? I'm coming up. My name is Teresa Staley. I am grateful that I've had an opportunity this week to talk to a majority of you on the council and share my concerns. I spend a great deal of time every day in prayer. And I thought it was very ironic today. I want to read this scripture. I'm glad we start with the prayer here, by the way. This is from Luke 8, chapter 8, verse 16 and 17, talking about light and darkness. Jesus said to the crowd, "No one who lights a lamp conceals it with a vessel or sets it under a bed. Rather, he places it on a lampstand so that those who enter may see the light. For there is nothing hidden that will not become visible, and nothing secret that will not be known and come to light. Take care then how you hear." Last week was a week of darkness. We were in darkness. And I was thinking back about the light that has been in this city council facility for the last 6 years, and that light is Deborah Owen. I have known her since we started the petition drive 6 years ago. And that lady, I don't know how she felt about the Drake Springs pool, but she was so fair, impartial, caring, knowledgeable, helpful to us as citizens. I've been involved in 2 grassroots campaigns with her on petition drives. She has always been there, been passionate about the process. I've also been involved in 2 political campaigns when I ran for city council. Once again, Deborah Owen was there with the knowledge, the information, the caring. Very professional. Just an outstanding woman. She has been the warm, welcoming, sunshine face to anybody who comes into this chambers. Long before many of you were elected, Deborah Owen was here. She cared. She connected us, the citizens, to what's happening here. She was a liaison between us and the city government. Why would you sweep that away and diminish that? Deborah has been a strong advocate for justice, fairness, no matter who you are, no matter how much money you make, no matter what your political status is. Deborah treated everyone the same. And you guys, you know it. I know you do. She was a straight shooter, and she cared. She cared about the political process. Deborah was our watchdog when it comes to political campaigns. She was an expert in state law. She has a law degree. She was extremely intelligent. She's a courageous woman, and she's a woman of great integrity. And I know there were times when Deborah went up against Mayor Munson's administration, city attorneys. Deborah wasn't afraid to do that. She stood her ground. She stood for righteousness. We need people who aren't afraid to step up to the plate. We need people with courage and guts, people who will not be intimidated by a strong-armed mayor or a few people who are putting the pressure on them. Stand alone. Take a stand. Stand up for what's right. That's what the people, the taxpayers of the city want. Deborah was loved by her staff. She treated them with dignity and caring. She went to bat for them. And she treated them with the same respect and love that she gave to all of us. So the caring attributes, all this stuff that came through in Deborah, and basically she believed in wonderfully top-notch customer service, which is what we should all be working towards in our government. Instead of an elitism and an arrogance and a single purpose that says we're going to go ahead no matter what, no matter whose toes we step on. Deborah brought integrity, honesty, intelligence, and courage to our government. And I've told this to all of you, so I'm not saying anything that you haven't heard before. She is a marvelous example of what we should all strive for, and we have been blessed to have her presence here. Our city government is a better place because of Deborah Owen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak to the city council? Thank you. Folks, if you could just be ready, I know the council would appreciate it. If there's other folks who'd like to speak after this gentleman, just be ready. Please welcome.
Yes, good evening,
Thank you so
Mayor,
much.
Council. My name's I.L. Weideman. I'm about 30-some years in Sioux Falls. I've come across I'm going to talk about Debbie also. There was a grave injustice done last week. I do feel I know a few of the ones that caused that injustice. They worked behind her back, as they were very well known to be doing. If there was an election tomorrow, 7 or 6 people on this council would be gone. They'd be looking for work. I don't know how many phone calls, I don't know how many messages, I don't know how many faxes I've got pertaining to this. I wasn't going to come up and talk to it. I didn't want to get involved in it. But this was wrong. I know one of the main people that was involved in it. It was political. Personal endeavors are being called, or political endeavors are being called personal. That's wrong. The city people deserve to know what happened. I don't know what happened. I've heard all kinds of rumors and innuendos. I've heard them from here to Sioux City and gone. People are talking about the wrong that was done in this city last week, not just in Sioux Falls, all over the state. I can't congratulate the people that spoke prior to me. They were very eloquent. I'm a straight shooter. I say it the way I see it. I see a grave injustice done. Thank you.
Mr. Weinerman, thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to? Mr. Stenga, welcome. Thank you, Mr. Stenga.
Tim Stanga. Well, it's hard to beat that about Deborah Owens because I've only been coming here for 8 months and I feel like I've known her for a long time. She made it sure that the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted. But I could remember when Vernon Brown was the only one that voted against on the event center, and he was told, don't let politics. I hope it's not because it's political, but I believe that this was political. A lot of people outside these walls do. But they also state that it's too bad that it isn't that easy to get rid of some city council people. Because there are people that are mad and they're tired. They're tired of what's going on. They come out and they state that we feel that we hired a mayor, but he's become a salesman because of this event center. We want a mayor, not a salesman. You know, they say the mayor came out and stated that we have so much money in this town, we don't know what to do with it. We're going to take the extra penny sales tax and we're going to boot it onto the event center. A lot of people out there just surviving. But we couldn't have taken some of that money and put it towards the water, electrical, and sewer to help people out. People outside these walls are trying to figure out, who are we here for? Are we for the working class, or are we here for the people that have money? I ask that same question all the time because I see it totally different. I see that we are here for people that do have money, the people that are suffering, the people that are trying to make it are the ones that are getting the shaft. And I'm tired of it. I know there's a lot of people out here that are tired of it. And it's time that the citizens of Sioux Falls take their town back. It's time that we get back to real government, that we stand up for all people, not just certain people. And Deborah Owens is going to be missed. And if we're going to go nationwide to find somebody to take her spot, how much is it going to cost us citizens to go nationwide to find somebody to take her spot? It just bothers people out here because, but then again, we got all kinds of money in this town, so why worry about it? Waste it some more.
Mr. Stinga, thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Rath. I am here tonight to publicly thank Deborah Owen for her years of service to our community. As all of you know, every Monday I am here at Carnegie for council meetings. Over the years, as I attended these meetings, I saw a city clerk who the council looked to for guidance, and a manager whose staff viewed her as a role model. I also saw a remarkable attorney give well-researched presentations, such as the recent review of the council's role in approving city contracts. She possessed a unique combination of a law degree, political experience, and a personality that made her a perfect match for the position of city clerk. She was vigilant in her efforts to make local government accessible, open, and transparent. I believe that one of her greatest and most lasting accomplishments will be her efforts to give every citizen the ability to view the council meetings on the city's website. I find it ironic that someone who advocated so doggedly for open government would not even be allowed to speak at her own termination hearing. The cloak of secrecy that surrounded last week's hearings and the subsequent clearing of the People's Town Hall are the very things that she would have opposed. You are all elected officials. Each of you has a voting record. Some votes stand out in the public's mind more than others. I believe that this will be a vote that Sioux Falls citizens remember. Deborah Owen is a class act. She helped me to become a better citizen, a more well-informed, engaged voter. Last Wednesday was indeed a sad day, for our community lost a very valuable asset. Thank you.
Ms. Rath, thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to the council? Very good. We'll move to item 11.
Transfer of a 2011-12 retail malt beverage license from Bosselman Incorporated of South Dakota, Grandma Max's Restaurant, 5301 North Cliff Avenue, to Bosselman Food Services, Inc., Grandma Max's Restaurant, to be operated at 5301 North Cliff Avenue, including video lottery terminals. Item 12, transfer of a 2011-12 retail malt beverage license from Interactive Holdings, Inc., VIP Gaming to 3600 West 41st Street to Walmart Foods Incorporated, the Parliament Casino, to be operated at 3600 West 41st Street, including video lottery terminals. Item 13, Transfer of a 2011 retail wine license for Interactive Holdings, Inc., VIP Gaming 2, 3600 West 41st Street, to Walmart Foods Incorporated, the Parliament Casino, to be operated at 3600 West 41st Street, including video lottery terminals. Item 14, special one-day wine license for the Affordable Housing Solutions to be operated at the Old Courthouse Museum, 200 West 6th Street, for the 2011 Trivia Challenge fundraiser on September 29, 2011, was withdrawn by applicant. Item 15, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for the Children's Home Society to be operated at the Avera Prairie Center, 1000 East 23rd Street, for their annual dinner meeting on October 6, 2011. Item 16, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for Vera McKinnon Foundation to be operated at the Avera Prairie Center, 1000 East 23rd Street, for the Paint the Night Pink fundraiser on October 21, 2011. Item 17, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for the Compass Center to be operated at the Avera Prairie Center, 1000 East 23rd Street, for the It's in the Bag fundraiser on February 9, 2012.
Thank you. Lori, welcome.
Hi, Lori Hugstead with the City Attorney's Office. Thank you, Denise. I'm here for items 11 through 17. 11, 12, and 13 are transfers staying at the same location. And 14, as Denise mentioned, has been withdrawn. 15 through 17 are special one-day requests. I can certainly answer questions on items 11 through 17.
Councilor Bach.
This is one of those questions I don't know the answer to it, and I'm not sure I understand. There was one point not that long ago when council changed the zoning for that Avera Hospital campus so that they could have a wine license there, a beer and wine license, and
Sure.
have they not done that? Is that why we're doing one-day things for them still? Or am I
Correct.
not on the right-
They have chosen not yet to apply for the, what I call permanent beer and wine licenses. They're still trying to determine if it's worth applying, or they would rather go the one-day route. The problem they run into with the one-day route is timing, which I think was the reason that they chose to pursue the conditional use to start with. But I talked to them a few weeks ago, and they're still considering and haven't made a decision yet.
Oh, okay.
So
Good.
you're
Thank
correct.
you.
They did go through that.
Okay, thank you.
Council, any other questions? Yes, Councilor Anderson Jr.
Just a little off course. How are we doing with our liquor licenses?
Good, good. I
from the
sent out an
state.
update, I believe it was last week. We have 9 available, and we have 6 that are spoken for at this time. I can resend that to you, or
No,
you should have it. Yeah,
I just
you
wanted
should
it to
have
be more
yeah.
public.
Sure, it's going well, and those will either come before the council for a conditional use permit if required. Now, not all of them need to go through that process if they're a restaurant and they meet certain criteria. And then, of course, they'll come before you for action for the new licenses. And I assume most of them will be for 2012.
Do we still have businesses waiting for the last 3 then?
No, I've gone through the list completely and will not contact them again for 6 months unless they let me know they're interested. But they have all declined at this time and moved to the end of the list.
So we have 3 available
We have
liquor
3
licenses
available.
within
Give
the
me
city.
a call. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Council, any further questions, comments, or motions?
Move approval, Erpenbach.
Second, Karski.
Councilor Bach's made a motion to approve the items discussed, seconded by Councilor Karski. If no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Karski,
Yes.
Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 19.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending Article 3 of Chapter 8 of the revised ordinances of the city regarding the Orpheum Theater Advisory Board of Directors.
Good evening. Jeffrey Schmidt, representing planning staff. This item has went through the Orpheum Board. Their recommendation is to clarify their bylaws through the ordinance process right now. It's stating how many members they have on their board and who represents those memberships.
Folks, this is a second reading. Is there anyone in the audience who wanted to speak to this item? Very good. Council, any questions, comments, or motions?
Move to approve.
Second, Brown.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve item number 19, seconded by Councilor Brown. If no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 20.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at East 73rd Street and South El Dorado Avenue from the Diamond Valley Planned Development District and the RS2 Residential District to the RD Residential District, petition number 2011-07-12, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls.
Dave Loveland's bringing up the slides and the overheads for this. This is at the southwest corner of 69th and Cliff Avenue. Majority of it's already developed. These are a little bit older city aerials, but as you can see, their lots and blocks have already been laid out. It's in a planned development district, allowing for residential in this area. They're, as the applicant's suggesting or requesting, they would like to rezone it to RD residential development. RD is the step up from single-family development, so they'd be able to do twin homes and townhomes within this development.
Thank you, Jeff. Council, this is a first reading. Any questions of Jeff? Hearing, yes, Councilor Anderson, Jr.
Jeff, could you give us a little better update than our red notes on the neighborhood meeting? What happened there?
Not specifically into the neighborhood meeting. That was between the applicant and the property owners. At Planning Commission, there was a significant amount of people in attendance. Not a lot got up and spoke. We asked for a show of hands who were opposed to the development. Specifics, what they brought up to us is in the codes, covenants, and restrictions that the property owners signed with the developer, this type of development was not allowed for. But again, City Council and Planning Commission doesn't get into the codes, covenants, and restrictions, just what's allowed by law in our zoning ordinance. So after we discussed that a little bit, they took it out into the hall and continued to talk about the codes and covenants.
So we should be prepared maybe to hear from a few citizens on
I
the
think there
second
would be
reading?
attendance, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Councilor Buck.
Well, that begs the question, is it the same developer that developed the homes that are around it?
Yes.
That's doing this? And that developer designed the codes and covenants and the rules?
Restrictions,
The
correct.
restrictions.
Yep. So that's a legal
Interesting.
issue between those two parties.
Between them, right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Council, very good. Would anybody like to set a date of hearing and second reading for Monday, October 3rd at 7 p.m. for item 20?
So moved, Brown.
Second, Anderson.
Councilor Brown's made that motion, seconded by Councilor Anderson, Jr. If no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 21.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 1208 West Elkhorn Street from the I-1 Light Industrial District to the O Office District, petition number 2011-08-06, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls.
This is south of the airport and east of Elmwood Golf Course. It's an industrial district in the city of Sioux Falls. Even though it's zoned industrial, the use right now is an office building, and an office is allowed there. However, the property owner would like to operate a church in this office, and churches are not allowed in the industrial district, so they're rezoning it to an office district so that they can operate their church in this building.
Another first reading, Council. Any questions, comments? Yes, Councilor Karski.
Just parking issue, when you talk about a church, it seems to me that you'd have a whole lot more people in a church than you would in an office environment. Is there adequate parking for this?
Yes, they would need to meet the adequate parking for off-site or off-street parking, excuse me. And again, they're addressing that through their hours of operation and working on Sundays.
Council, would anybody like to set a date of hearing and second reading for Monday, October 3rd at 7 p.m. for item 21?
So moved, Aguilar.
Second, Jamison.
Councilor Aguilar has made that motion, seconded by Councilor Jamison. If there's no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 22.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 124 South Elmwood Avenue from the RD Residential District to the Elmwood Planned Development District, petition number 2011-08-10, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls.
As you can see by the map, this is a single-family neighborhood. It's zoned RD on the west and single-family on the east. Has been developed up with single-family houses in the area. This specific lot has a garage on it, but it doesn't have a house on it. So staff worked with their representatives as well as the city attorney's office to draft a planned development district to allow that garage to remain on site and be used as mini storage or personal storage in that self-standing garage.
Council, if there's no questions, would anybody like to set a date? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Karski.
Yeah, I guess it was to the Planning Commission twice. Was there a problem the first time, or why did it have to go back?
Yes, they were asking to rezone it to industrial. Storage is allowed in the industrial district, but not in a single-family neighborhood. So the straight-up request for industrial was not supported by Planning Commission. When it came back through this time as a planned development specifically for a storage of that one building and single-family housing, it was supported.
Councilor Karski.
Then if I may, you had mentioned mini storage. I mean, would this be allowed for like a public access storage, or would it be strictly for like a single use, single tenant? And could it be a commercial storage facility?
Yes, it can be a commercial storage facility. It's for a single use, single tenant, but the person that owns it can rent it out.
Okay. Could they put more buildings on it, make it bigger, that type of thing?
By law, they could, but realistically, they can't because they wouldn't meet any of the setbacks or the lot dimensions to put another structure on this lot.
Because it is a residential area, correct?
Councilor Mbach. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Karski.
I just was wondering, last question, was there any opposition from any of the neighbors?
No. They had a signed petition going into the meeting. They had one person that attended Planning Commission and spoke that he had all of his questions answered.
That was my question.
Very good. Council, would anybody like to set a date of hearing, second reading for Monday, October 3rd at 7 p.m. for item 22?
So moved, Erpenbach.
Second, Brown.
Councilor Mbach's made that motion, seconded by Councilor Brown. If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's passed 6-0. And people of Sioux Falls, these are first readings. That's why the public doesn't have an opportunity to speak at these. Now, at second readings, definitely the public has an opportunity to speak at those. We will now move on to item number 23.
First reading an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending Chapter 18 Garbage and Recycling of the revised ordinances of the City of Sioux Falls.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Bob Capel. I'm with the Public Works Environmental Division, and we're here today to talk to you about some proposed revisions to Chapter 12, the Garbage and Recycling Ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls. I'd first like to let you know that our team has discussed this issue with the Council at the Public Service Committee, and we also have given a full presentation at the Council's informational meeting, and that information is available on the website. Tonight we'll be giving an abbreviated presentation of what we've talked about in the past. First of all, as you know, the City of Sioux Falls owns and operates the Sioux Falls Regional Sanitary Landfill. This landfill is a large landfill. It basically, last year, took in 170,000 tons of municipal solid waste that we processed for a 5-county region. This is a significant amount of municipal solid waste, and our ultimate goals are to basically trying to increase our recycling and reduce the amount of solid waste being taken to our landfill to extend the life of that landfill. So over the last 4 years, the city management has been working with the Solid Waste Planning Board to assist us in seeing what types of code revisions we can make to take us to the next level to improve those efforts. We've had some limited success over the last 15 years, and we'd like to really try and get it to that next level if we possibly could. The Solid Waste Planning Board, as you probably are aware, is a 15-member board appointed by the mayor, and it has representatives from the City of Sioux Falls. It is represented from the hauler and recycling industry. It is representatives from Lake, Lincoln, McCook, Minnehaha, and Turner counties. It has public works staff on the board, and we also have a member from the South Dakota Multi-Housing Association. This board is very diverse and has a lot of members on it because we are, again, serving a 5-county region and a fairly large population base of approximately 240,000 people. The board worked with our management team over these last 3-4 years to change the ordinance, or at least make recommendations to you for changes to the ordinance. The major changes are, our intent of these changes are to perform some minor cleanups to the ordinance by cleaning up some employee titles, correcting some grammar, and to bring the city code up to date with existing industry standards. And third, we basically want to make some improvements in our efforts in the reduction of recycling of municipal solid waste at our facility, and ultimately to extend, again, the life of the landfill. What I'd like to do is just touch base on some of the major changes, the substantive changes to the ordinance that we are proposing, and we hope we can get your support. First of all, we are basically changing an ordinance that will allow both source-separated and single-stream recycling. Currently, that is an industry practice. We are just cleaning up the ordinance to show that that is allowed. Second of all, we are basically changing some of the sections in the ordinance to really emphasize that recycling is required in our community. It's not a volunteer effort. It is a required component of our code that we would like to see our citizens and haulers comply with. And we'll basically emphasize on this recycling throughout the process. The next major change is basically we're going to require recyclable collection at least twice per month. Again, this is kind of a cleanup. Current industry standards or practices are probably already doing that in most haulers. Another change we're going to basically do is establish a criteria for recycling containers. As most of you know, we have criteria for garbage containers. They need to be rigid and watertight. We're going to basically take those criteria and require them for recyclable containers. And the reason for that is basically two major reasons. To help keep our community clean, because if any of us have been out into our community during a windy day, which we have a lot of them in Sioux Falls, we're out there picking up milk jugs and other recycled materials that are in not sealed, closed containers. So we're trying to keep that from happening out there in our community. Second of all, we're trying to prevent the customers and our citizens who really want to recycle these materials to be reused. We don't want them damaged by precipitation. When it rains and snows on paper and cardboard, that eventually will destroy those recyclable materials, and we lose the value of that product, and they end up becoming waste. Another change that we're looking at is basically requiring businesses to report recyclable materials. Currently, they are not required to do that. They are required to recycle, but this is an ordinance that we are hopeful will give us a tool for our management team to help haulers get that information. Because right now, if a hauler is servicing a large box store in the community of Sioux Falls, and that large box store has decided to basically recycle their corrugated cardboard themselves, that is a disincentive to that hauler. They don't get to take advantage of that recycling amount, so it hurts the recycling rate. So we want those businesses to report that recyclable material to their hauler so they can have accountability for it, and the city has accountability for that recyclable material that's being processed by somebody else besides our licensed haulers. And this will basically give us a tool to assist them in getting that information. I think most haulers have a good relationship with their businesses. They'll get that information. But just in case a business is not cooperative with a hauler, this ordinance will give us the authority to go in there and require that business to report it to the hauler. Another change in the ordinance will basically be we're going to basically have a little more accountability to our haulers. We will no longer accept them to accept and collect recyclable materials that are visibly noticeable in the solid waste stream. And as an example in the picture here is if they go to a home or a business and they have obviously recyclable materials placed in a solid waste container, we're going to ask them not to accept that material, and we're going to ask them to put a note to the business or the resident explaining that their responsibility is to recycle this material and that they will come back and pick up that material the next time they're through their neighborhood or their business. The next major change, basically, we're going to require that any solid waste that is generated within the city of Sioux Falls must be disposed of our sanitary landfill. The main reason for this is that we are going to be establishing a true recycling standard that we are going to enforce. And in order to enforce this, we don't want to create a potential loophole. And one possibility would be a hauler who would choose to raise their recycling rate by taking a portion of their solid waste and disposing of it at a different regional landfill. And we want to prevent that from happening. We don't think it will happen. Right now, all haulers are properly following the state requirements to use our regional landfill, but we just want to prevent a possible scenario where we could be abused. Next change is basically to establish an enforcement strategy. This has been a weakness for our management team for many, many years. We have ordinances on place that we really don't legally feel we can enforce. And so we are going to be establishing ordinances that give us a clear, concise measure how we're going to take enforcement on haulers that fail to comply with our new recycling standard. And that way there is no doubt that we will be able to take enforcement at the level, if it is adopted by the council, to follow through with that. Another thing we're going to basically do, and I think this is the exciting part, we're going to establish what we call a carrot and stick philosophy in our community. We are going to establish an incentive rebate for haulers that are doing a great job in our community. Any hauler that exceeds 50% of our recycling goal, the city will basically give them a rebate for the year that they are in compliance and exceeding that 50% standard, and we'll give them a $1 per ton rebate per ton of solid waste brought out to our landfill. We also felt that it would be unsuccessful to have that really achieve something without a disincentive. So we are also establishing a recycling disincentive. And this disincentive is a surcharge on those haulers that by refusal or just lack of effort are not meeting our recycling standard. And that new surcharge will basically be a comparable rate. If they do not meet the recycling standard, we will also charge them a $1 per ton surcharge rate for the year that they are not meeting our recycling standard. On the next table here, just want to emphasize this, is that we have gone through and projected what that means to the city of Sioux Falls. If all haulers continue at the rates they are right now in 2011, based on this first 6 months of the year, we anticipate and project that we will give out approximately $38,000 in rebates to the 5 top haulers. Because right now, 5 haulers exceed our recycling goal by 50%. So it's not a large amount of dollars to the city of Sioux Falls in our operation of our budget, but it is enough, I think, that will send a message to those top performers that we appreciate that and we want them to continue it. The second part of the disincentive is a surcharge. Based upon our projections on current rates, there are 12 haulers that are not meeting the new recycling standard that we will establish, and we are projecting that we will give approximately $20,000 or charge those 12 haulers approximately $20,000 total in surcharges if they do not meet that recycling standard. So there is, again, a rebate and a surcharge in this policy and ordinances if it is adopted. Next, we basically want to improve and emphasize our pay-as-you-throw hauler rates to benefit our customers. We currently have a system that is called pay-as-you-throw, and this is a fairly common national trend. It's found to be very successful in improving recycling efforts in your communities. In essence, we're saying is that we want all garbage haulers to provide at least 2 levels of service to our customers, business and residents. And that means they must provide 2 different sizes of containers. We aren't going to tell them what size of containers, but we're going to tell them there needs to be a differentiation between the size of those containers, and also there needs to be a differentiation between the cost of those containers to the customer. So ultimately, we are hopeful that a customer will see that it costs me less if I have a smaller garbage container, and they will get a smaller garbage container, and that will basically be an incentive to them to make sure they don't put recycled materials in it. They put recycled materials in a recycling container. So it's an incentive program that we think is being used around the country that we want to implement here and enforce here in the city of Sioux Falls. Another change will basically be to improve our recycling reporting requirements. I talked a little bit about that. One of those things is having the businesses report their recycling efforts in the city of Sioux Falls. Another thing we're going to basically do is improve the methodology for calculating our city recycling goal. Currently, our recycling goal is established by taking the average recycling rate of all of our haulers. So right now we have 30 commercial licensed haulers that recycle for our community, and we average those rates from last year to develop our goal for this year. There is some inept problems with that system. An example would be if we had the 5 smallest haulers and they had the highest recycling rates, in essence, they would basically create a false high recycling goal for our community because they're treated the same as a large hauler who produces more solid waste. On the same side, if the 5 smallest haulers had the lowest recycling rate, that would really generate a false low recycling goal for our community. So we're going to change that, and we're proposing that we're going to have a very simple mass-based calculation. Total recyclables that are verified in our community would be divided by the total verified recyclables plus the total verified solid waste in our community. One simple calculation, and it will truly develop a true community-based recycling goal versus an average of haulers. So we think that's going to be a very positive thing when we start sharing our information to communities in the future. The next thing we'll basically talk about is the recycling standard, and I think it's very important for us to understand that. As we stated, we do have a recycling goal right now that has not been enforced, but our new recycling standard will basically be that any hauler must meet at least 80% of our recycling goal. We feel this is an achievable standard, and we believe it's a standard that will stand up to a legal test if we have to take enforcement on that. If this ordinance is adopted, the recycling standard for 2011 would be 12%, which is 80% of our 15% recycling goal. What I'd like to share with you is a graph here depicting the haulers that we basically regulate at this time that haul residential municipal solid waste to our landfill. As you can see, there's a wide variety on their capabilities and their efficiencies on recycling. The first, as you can see, is the top, the affordable sanitation basically has over a 32% recycling rate, while there's other garbage haulers that are less than 4%. Some of these garbage haulers actually have recyclable rates that are at 0 at times. It really shows and indicates to us that there are some haulers that are really making a great effort to recycle in our community, but there's also some haulers that are not doing a very good job at the recycling effort. To follow up on the next step is that we are basically talked about that enforcement strategy. And the enforcement strategy is a 3-year plan. Basically, for 3 years, we're going to give haulers an opportunity to bring themselves into compliance with our recycling standard. The first year, we'll take some surcharges and require a corrective action plan. If a second year in a row they don't meet that standard, we'll increase that surcharge, make higher requirements on the corrective action plan, and then if the third year in a row a hauler does not meet our recycling rate, we are basically proposing to the council that we will establish a criteria, a code enforcement that will allow us to revoke that license from that hauler. In essence, those haulers do operate under a privilege of a license of the City of Sioux Falls, and we do and should have the authority to revoke that if they fail to comply with our codes. And then the final change that we will be proposing as part of this ordinance is just kind of a cleanup on the composition of the Solid Waste Planning Board. There were some errors in that portion of the ordinance, and one question was brought to us: why can't somebody outside the City of Sioux Falls and our 5-county regions sit on that board? And we agreed, Solid Waste Planning Board agreed, and so if the ordinance does not specifically state you have to be a citizen of Sioux Falls, we will allow anybody within the 5-county region to sit on that Solid Waste Planning Board if selected by the mayor. And those are the primary substantive changes that we are proposing to the council. We are hopeful that you will support these changes and help us move to the next level of recycling in our community and extending the life of our landfill, which ultimately will help us maintain our tipping fees and costs to a community for disposal of solid waste. Thank you, and I'll take any questions if you have any.
Mr. Capel, thank you. And folks, we do realize that there are probably haulers or businesses out there who would like to speak to this item. This, again, is a first reading, so if you'd like to come back, if there is a second reading, you'll have plenty of opportunity then. But because this is first reading, Council, did you have any questions of Mr. Capel? Yes, Councilor Bach.
Bob, thanks again for this great presentation. It's been very informative, and I'm excited to see these changes being made. My one question at this point is regarding haulers who might be under that line at this point. Let's say that if we do a first reading tonight, we do a second reading in a couple weeks, and it becomes law later on in November or so. When are they going to expect to be checked for this? Do they have a year from now before that first check, or is it 6 months, or is it the minute the law is in there? How's that going to work?
As any ordinance change, it always comes down to the implementation and interpretation of any code. Currently, the Solid Waste Planning Board and our management team are proposing that our interpretation will be the recycling goal has been out there all year long. This is no surprise to a hauler. They know the recycling goal is 50%. The new standard of 80% will be new, but they know they've been, essence, currently right now they're supposed to be reaching that 15% recycling goal. So we would like to implement this immediately. So as of March 31st, 2012, any hauler that basically exceeds that recycling goal by 50%, our intention is to pay the rebate. Any hauler that does not meet that recycling standard at March 31st, 2012, for 2011, we will advise them that they did not comply with the code, which exists as the date that this code is enacted, and we will basically start the enforcement strategy at that time. Obviously, we will be reaching out to the city attorney's office for interpretation and make sure that however we implement this is legally defensible.
Councilor Bach.
One other question then. How would a person find out, either a hauler or maybe a potential customer, how would they, that graph that you've shown us several times, is that available somewhere where the public might find that?
Yes, it is. We recently have placed that out on the website. So if you go to the landfill's website, it is on there. It's also, you can find it through our Leading Green program. So that information is out on the city's website.
Good.
And we are going to encourage and to kind of educate our public that it might be in their best interest to consider who they're using for a hauler. Because we know personally that there's a lot of good, strong relationships between customers and the haulers. But obviously, we also hope that the citizens look at this as a city goal, not just, a hauler goal, and tries to accept and use appropriate haulers. So.
Good, thank you.
Councilor Jameson.
Bob, first off, it's kind of exciting to see a guy be so energized about a topic like this, and you fully understand it, and you've been working hard at it, and I appreciate that effort.
Thank you.
After the 4 o'clock meeting, I had a couple of haulers who were here listening, garbage haulers, and they just had a couple items, maybe a few more, but if we could talk later.
Absolutely.
But I want to share a couple of them with you just to keep you thinking about it.
Sure.
One of their concerns was that we're creating some more rules, for sure, but we're also relying on the haulers to enforce them.
Correct.
And they're feeling the pressure. So just acknowledge that, know that, and if there's a way that we can help them police the public, so to speak, so they don't lose customers just because they're following the city ordinance and they get a customer who's mad and says, well, my guy didn't pick up my trash today because I didn't have a lid on my recyclables. I'll call my buddy who's got a friend who'll pick up my trash no matter what. Mm-hmm. So help them, let's not burden them too much. The other is the city's done a great job of educating the public on recycling, and what they're looking for are some more tools for themselves to work directly to the customer, because they're interacting with them weekly, and if there's something that the city could provide, a template about recycling that they could provide to their customers, that would help them get those percentages higher and meet the goals of the city to recycle further. So I guess what I'm saying is if you could engage them on your marketing efforts to directly engage the consumer, I think you would help the haulers. So, and then I've got a few more, but we can talk about those
No, I
later.
appreciate those comments. Those are great comments. Just be aware that the haulers have come to solid waste planning board meetings. We've discussed this. We've had very good, open, frank discussions in those meetings. We met with the solid waste and recycling industry prior to coming to council to explain what we are doing, and we had some good, open discussion there. We are always open to their comments, their concerns, and I will guarantee our staff will do our utmost to assist them. Our goal isn't to basically run them out of business. Our goal is to help them improve recycling in our community, and we will do every effort that we can.
Council, would anybody like to set a date of hearing and second reading for Monday, October 3rd at 7 p.m. for item number 23?
So move, Karski.
Second, Anderson.
Councilor Karski's made that motion, seconded by Councilor Anderson Jr. If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Thank you, Bob. Item 24.
First reading an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, approving the release of permanent easements in a portion of Lot 3A, except Track 1 contained therein, Block 1 of Williams Addition to the City of Sioux Falls, Minnehaha County, South Dakota, and a portion of the northwest border of the northeast quarter of Section 32-T101N-R49W of the 5th PM, Minnehaha County, South Dakota.
Good evening. Jeff Delories from the Engineering Division of Public Works. This permanent utility easement is south of 41st Street and east of Grange Avenue. It was granted by plat in December of 1999 and in February of 2001. There are no utilities in this easement. Engineering recommends approval of the release of this easement.
Thank you, Jeff. Council, questions? Would anybody like to set a date of hearing and second reading for Monday, October 11th at 7 p.m. for this item?
So moved, Aguilar.
Second, Jameson.
Councilor Aguilar has made that motion, seconded by Councilor Jameson. If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item number 27.
A resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 85th Street and Western Avenue, Harrisburg School.
Good evening. This resolution is for annexation of approximately 75 acres in the southwest part of town. It includes 3 property owners requesting this application. It's a petition from them to bring it in the city of Sioux Falls. Once it goes through the development process, the property owner would be the Harrisburg School District, and the Harrisburg School District proposes to build a middle school on the east portion of this property, opening in approximately September of 2003. They can give you more specifics on September 2013, excuse me. And then an elementary school on the west side of the lot. Utilities can be extended down this property. They will have sewer coming down Western Avenue to 95th Street, and then water and roadway will be extended by the applicant along 95th Street to continue to service this development. With that, I can answer any other questions.
Before we go to the council, is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak to this item? Very good. Councilor Jameson?
Jeff, if you could, or Dave, could you back out just a little bit to show me 85th and Western, where that is?
Western Avenue is where Dave has the arrow, so it's about a quarter mile to the east. It's actually the west property line falls at the half section line. Okay. So, and then about 92nd or 93rd would be the middle of the section. This is at 95th. So there's Dave is drawn in the exhibit. South of Timberline, or excuse me, Timber Oaks development, and east of Cinnamon Ridge.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Council, would anybody like to make a motion on this particular resolution?
Move approval, Erpenbach.
Second, Jameson.
Councilor Erpenbach, thank you for making that motion. Seconded by Councilor Jameson. Is there any further discussion? A roll call vote, please.
Councilors Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item number 30.
A proposed resolution vacating the public right-of-way on West Unity Lane from South Grange Avenue to West Village Drive, and West Village Drive from South Grange Avenue to West Unity Lane, and West Village Circle from West Village Drive to the end of the cul-de-sac.
Jeff Delories, Engineering Division of Public Works. This unimproved right-of-way is south of 41st Street and east of Grange Avenue. If vacated, a utility easement will not be maintained. The vacated right-of-way will be used for future development. The petitioner has complied with our street vacation policy.
Council, would anybody like to set a hearing date for Monday, October 11th, 2011 at 7 p.m. for item 30?
So moved.
Councilor Aguilar has made a motion to approve that, seconded by Councilor Anderson, Jr. Any further discussion? A roll call vote, please.
Councilors Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 31.
A proposed resolution vacating the public right-of-way on North Drive adjacent to Lot 6, Block 2, Sioux Empire Development Park, 3 East Edition, as shown on Exhibit A.
Jeff?
This unimproved right-of-way is at the end of North Drive, just north of the Pioneer Memorial Monument. The right-of-way in question is 1,066 square feet. If vacated, a utility easement will not be maintained. The vacated right-of-way will be used for future development. The petitioner has complied with our street vacation policy.
Thanks, Jeff. Council, would anybody like to set a hearing date for the Monday, October 11th at 7 p.m. for item 31?
So moved, Jameson.
Second, Anderson.
Councilor Jameson's made that motion, seconded by Councilor Anderson, Jr. If there's no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item 32.
A resolution approving the appointment of David Bixler as acting city clerk effective upon passage and publication.
Thank you. Councilor Aguilar, Councilor Erpenbach.
Mr. Mayor, I would move approval and then speak to the motion.
Second, Aguilar.
Councilor Erpenbach has made a motion to approve item 32. It was seconded by Councilor Aguilar.
Mr. Mayor, David Bixler has more than 20 years' experience in accounting and finance. The majority of his time has been spent with Hutchinson Technology, where he provided financial analysis and support. And he has worked for 3 separate manufacturing facilities. As our budget analyst for the Sioux Falls City Council, he played a critical role as the council worked through the mayor's proposed 2012 budget. David's a longtime resident of Sioux Falls, a graduate of Lincoln High School, and he has a degree in accounting from Colorado Technical University. With this vote this evening, David will serve as acting city clerk for a short period until an interim city clerk is appointed by the council. Urge your approval.
Council, any comments or questions? Yes, Councilor Brown.
Is David Bixler here this evening to reintroduce him to the public?
You know, he asked me if he should be here, and I said that would be okay that he didn't. I apologize.
I've just had a lot of questions this week asking who he was. I was hoping we could reintroduce him to the community.
Council, any further questions, comments? Roll call vote, please.
Councilors Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Council, any further questions or comments or items to discuss tonight? Very good. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second Aguilar.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting, seconded by Councilor Aguilar. If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. City of Sioux Falls, thank you very much for your time tonight. City Council, thank you much for your work as well. This meeting is adjourned. Make it a great night.